Joanne Wilson. I'm a mentor in this program, and I'm an angel investor in the New York area.
I'm Rebecca Dengrove. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Brewla bars.
And I'm Daniel Dengrove. I'm Rebecca's brother, the president and co-founder of Brewla. We make a line of all-natural ice pops. Each flavor is 70 calories or less sugar than an apple, and based on brewed ingredients like tea, coffee. We even brew our own root beer for a root beer float. So I've got my favorite flavor here. This is a peach ginger white tea. It's got theanine and chamomile extract, which is naturally found in tea and associated with calming. So each of our flavors has a unique boost as well. We're in 100 stores now. Whole Foods, you can find us in Whole Foods in the Northeast, Publix down south, and recently we just expanded to Gelson's out in Southern California. So we're really excited to talk to you about our challenges.
Daniel, that was really good. You've got that line down.
I do. A lot of practice.
So I have a question. So just, since it's the first time we're really talking, except that I bumped into you, Rebecca, at the Fancy Food Show.
Yep.
How did you guys start on this journey?
Daniel presented the idea to me, and we realized that there was an opportunity in sort of this brewed space. We started with the idea around tea, did some test work, found that consumers wanted more than just tea, introduced the espresso and the root beer, and gained some real traction down in Lower Manhattan at one of the outdoor markets, the Fulton Stall Market at the Seaport.
Mm-hmm. It's a great market. So that was your first entry into into Brewla?
Yep.
That was the one. And that was sort of our strategy, was to use the market to really test the product, build some level of buzz, some loyal fans, and then try to scale it from there. So we always had scale in mind from the beginning. And last year, we got our product onto retail shelves. And so it has been just about a full year now. This is our first full summer on the shelf.
Yep.
Okay, great. And so that was obviously your first time at the Fancy Food Show.
Yep.
Yeah, which was worthwhile. The really big ones are New York, Anaheim, and San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The Anaheim one is huge. That's like the big one. There is one in Atlanta, but the place to really spend the money is Anaheim. It takes place in March, and you guys should take a look at that because it's like where all the new stuff is happening, and everyone comes to that one.
Is that Expo West?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so you're in 100 stores now. Are you finding a great response to those particular stores and reordering? As you know, that the hardest part is having those buyers and those stores ensure that your product is actually getting reordered at the right time period. So you want to have 3-month supply and then continue to make sure that you're at a 3-month supply. And sometimes they don't really pay that much attention. There's people you can hire to actually go in and make sure that your counts are right, particularly in stores like Whole Foods. So I don't know where you guys are in terms of the reorder business.
Yeah, we've been
So we're actually getting reorders. Yeah.
This is great.
One of the hardest things is actually keeping up with the demand right now. So we're actually planning another production right now. And this is one of our immediate concerns because the financing is a bit tough. I know you've written about consumer product goods and finding finance. I'd love to hear what you think, because we've sort of started to exhaust some of our friends and family. That's how we sort of seeded things initially. And it seems like there isn't much institutional investment until you hit around $1 million in revenue. So there seems to be this gap where consumer product goods are looking for financing, but it's actually hard to find. So I'm wondering what advice you have for finding angel investors, people who are strategic investors too, and will actually help you out and get you, from point A to point B a little easier.
Well, the good news for you guys is you're actually in this 100 stores and you've moved forward in a business. And Rebecca, you come out of the food business. So you're not like two kids in a store that decided we're going to go start making popsicles and see what happens, right? And you actually have a business. You're working with contractors. You're working with distributors. distributors, and you're thinking about, as we had talked earlier in reference to, okay, we need to be in the right contractor. We need to think about how we get our margins up, which I think is really important. And we talked about that earlier. You should get them up at least 30%, which is important. The thing that's difficult about the food market is that, we're sort of in this time period where everyone is starting these businesses, and many of them are being started in food. Investors who have historically put money has been putting more money into either tech businesses or biotech businesses that, need funding at the beginning. Their ROI ends up being a little better, and sometimes quicker, sometimes not. I mean, certainly, biotech takes a long time and a lot of cash. There's not a lot of people yet in the food market that are investing in consumer products. The great news is that there are places like Circle Up. So once you hit a certain level, right, you can actually go to Circle Up, and I think that's going to be more important as we go forward. It was just passed that if I chose to invest, your company was up on Circle Up, and I decided I was going to write a blog post about it and say, hey, I'm supporting Brewla on Circle Up. Everybody should go look at this thing. I can actually do that, I think, in about 60 days. It was the first of passage of the consumer bill, which is great. And they're actually filling a void in the market that if you do $1 million in business, you can go raise money. And I do think they're going to work on something. If you hit $250,000 in business, you can go raise money in a different way that they will back you, because, it's still kind of high risk, right? In the past, it's really been when you get to $10 million, that's when the private equity people come in. But the question is, how do you get to $10 million when your friends and family gave you some cash, and then,
Right.
You're like, now what, right? So I mean, that's the biggest problem. Your margins aren't high enough. You need to figure out how to get your margins up. I like the concept of having a couple molds and going to the right people and negotiating. If you hit certain amounts, you can get the price point down even more. Do you have any investors besides your friends and family at this point?
We're actually engaging with a few right now.
Okay.
Definitely have some interested parties. So.
Okay. And so you have a deck and you have a thought process. I mean, the thing that's nice is you guys are in all different regions. You're in the bigger stores and you're in the mom and pop stores.
Yep.
Right. So.
And we can't exactly, and we can't even keep up with the demand. We're getting actually one of the biggest retailers in the country contacted us only a few days ago with some interest. So a lot of opportunity for us right now.
There's always ways to negotiate that, right? I mean, they're interested in new artisanal products in those stores, right? So, we did a deal with Rick, and we just said, like, happy to do this many units, but we need cash up front. We need to be able to produce that in terms of cash flow. And if they really like your product, they'll help you out. And they can do it. It's not that they don't have the cash. You don't have the cash.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right? So I think it's important to think creatively in order to make the product. And I would assume now is your peak season.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? It kind of goes under the thing, fake it till you make it.
Yep.
Right? There are some factors sometimes that you can be fine, but they take a percentage of your profits. Unfortunately, that's banks used to give companies like you money, but they don't give money like that anymore. But you should send me your deck offline, and I'll take a look at it and see what you're looking to raise. I mean, the fact you're in 100 companies is huge.
Thanks.
100 doors.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And are you doing all like the green market stuff or those kind of things like the smorgasbord and those kind of things in order to build brand loyalty?
Yeah, we do we're still at the Fulton Stall Market, not as much as we were because we're in the stores doing demos right at the point of purchase a lot more now. But we still are there testing new flavors, doing some special PR opportunities. We're actually donating bars to the Fire Island Dance Festival this week, which is the largest fundraiser for dancers responding to AIDS. So that should be great.
That's great. That's great. And how many units do you have to make each time?
We make about 8 pallets of product is the minimum at our current manufacturer requires.
And what's the shelf life?
18 months.
18 months. And are you competing with anyone else to take over space in the freezer?
Oh yeah. I mean, the freezer, I think, is a tight section, so it's pretty competitive. But it's also, because of the challenges of it being frozen, is a lot harder to break into. So we're competing with big brands, a couple new companies that are starting to gain traction as well. And there hasn't been a lot of innovation in that space for a long time.
I'd love you guys to send me a deck, and then we can go back and forth on email and sort of talk about that and give you more information in terms of that might help you move forward, and maybe some other investors that I think might be interested in what you're going to do. I don't know how much money you need to raise. Is there a number you're looking for to raise?
Yeah, I mean, we're targeting $500,000 to $1 million.
This is another thing hard with the food industry, right? If you're going to raise $500,000 to $1 million in a startup business, your business is probably worth $4 to $5 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and it's based on air. I mean, really. But you guys have actual product. You know what you're selling. You know what your margins are. You know what's in the pipeline. So you can actually put a price on that. And so raising that money is tricky because it takes a tremendous amount of your business away from you, right? You don't want to sell more than 20 to 25% of your business at this point. So that's something you have to think about too, which makes it very tricky in the food business.
Mm-hmm.
Good advice.
Well, I'd love to talk to you about this more offline, because we have things that are coming up really fast, and it's pretty incredible, but it's happening quickly, and I'd like to get your advice on some of it.
I'd be happy to. So why don't we do this? Let's end this conversation. Send me an email. We'll get together on a phone call next week, and I can look through what you're doing, how much you're looking to raise, what you want to set your valuation on, who you're speaking to, what you're going to do to move from one facility to other facilities, who's in the pipeline to that big store to give you, is interested in how much is that going to be worth, and try to think about what you can be creative in order to make the product and move forward.
Amazing.
Sounds great.
Okay, great. All right, terrific. I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to look for you guys' email.
Terrific.
All right. Thanks, Joanne.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye.